Hey, I'm Rob Patz.
Hey, I'm Jason Webb. Rob, another Wednesday here. We got Thrive with Rob and Jason. Good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you. I still think we need to move the show to Thursday.
Thrive
on
with
Thursday.
We've been talking about this. We do need to get this together. We are going to be together in RB here in a few weeks, and we're going to be planning out some really cool things for the audience, and can't wait to see that. But that might be something we do, as we've talked about that.
It's crazy to think that we've been doing this almost a year. Can you imagine?
I know, right? It's been like a year, but it seems like a year. It's underwater, but it's okay.
A year. It seems like a year
Underwater, Rob. We talk about this, right?
You and my wife are awesome.
Like a year.
Yeah, my wife. I told her, I said, "Can you imagine we've been married almost 4 years?" She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "What? No, you're supposed to say no, honey. It's been just like last week." And she's like, "No, it seems like at least 4 years."
At least
4 years. I'm like, well, I love you too. Hey, it's good to be here, and of course we've got to because last week, if you were watching, before we do that, last week, if you were watching, Jason said that the Chiefs were going to win. I mean that the Eagles were going to win, and I picked the Chiefs. I got to be honest with you, and both of us played sports, and we did not talk during the game because I get very wound up, so I don't talk to anybody. My phone goes away because I don't want to go get on X and like say something really stupid. So I put my phone away and I do all this stuff. And I have to tell you, to be completely honest with you, almost from the start, you could just tell the body language of the Chiefs. They did not look like they wanted to be there.
No, when I was watching pregame things and I seen Patrick Mahomes sitting over on the bench, a few hours before the game, he's over there yawning. He's playing on his phone. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a blow. You could just see they were not into it.
And I don't know if it was they were just not. I don't know if it was because obviously, I mean, they're world champions twice in a row, so they knew what they were getting into. But I wonder if, and I think we can talk about this in life in general. Wonder if they got so confident that it just.
I think that they were used to winning so much that they just figured it would happen, and the Eagles came and just punched them in the mouth, right? And it wasn't just a win; it was a whooping.
It was not even funny. I mean, the score does not reflect the game. There was no way. That was not even close.
Well, and you were telling me too about Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah, Taylor Swift is going to break up with him. It's going to happen.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's totally. She's writing a new album. She actually wrote it during the game because, like the rest of us, she was looking for something to do during the game. It's called Travesty. The whole album is going to be called Travesty because obviously he couldn't get open.
Yeah, Travis Kelce couldn't get open. Yeah,
no, he could. So
he dropped the ball literally.
It had to be, and you hate for that because a great tight end, and he's going to go down as a great tight end in history. But man, he looked old, and we can talk about being old because we're old.
Because we're old.
And it would look old if I'm if I'm thrown to a 20-year-old, I look old. And his body and just his body language and everything, he looked like I don't want to get hit. And I can't blame you if you've ever been hit. It is not a fun thing to get hit.
It is not. It hurts. I understand. He's going to move on with his life. Taylor Swift, he's retired. He's gone.
Do you think he's retiring?
I think so, Rob. I do.
And here was an interesting thing, of course, because my background is media. Is I follow this guy. He's a media business guy, and he said, "Here's the reality: Travis is going to retire because he can make 3 times the amount of money a year being in media that he can make in football,
and it doesn't hurt. Him and his brother, they have their podcast, which they just signed some very lucrative contracts with that. That's more money who's making in football, plus his relationship to Taylor Swift. There's so much with that." But Rob, I was showing you my shirt earlier. I got my new threads, my new shirt from HeIsKing.life. Jesus Christ, this is a long sleeve. Man, these things are awesome, Rob. I'm gonna put that up here. We'll put it up in the corner here.
I want one of those. That shirt, that's the one. Because for gentlemen of a certain stature, a white T-shirt is not nearly as good.
Not nearly as attractive for us, yeah. No. But HeIsKing.life here, guys. As an audience member, you do get a discount with coming onto that HeIsKing.life. ATV10 is the code. You get a 10% discount. Come check it out. I'm telling you, these are very high-end shirts. It's very affordable, and there's so many different options on there. I highly, highly, highly recommend them. We're getting these shirts to show them on the air, but I would buy these without that. Like they're great quality. So
they're really good quality, and I'm even getting one. And so in a coming week episode, one of the coming weeks. Now we do want to tell you something, because we know there are people that do plan to watch us. I'm shocked, but they do. They plan to watch us every Wednesday. Next week, Jason will be on vacation. Not really, but he will be in a vacation location.
Yes.
And then on the following Wednesday, we are going to be at NRB. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to be at the National Religious Broadcasters. We're going to have a great time. We're grabbing some interviews and doing that stuff. So we will not be on, but then the week following, we won't be on either. So it's basically 3 weeks of us being gone, because Jason's son is going to have surgery. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. He's getting his adenoids taken out, tonsils. He's 5 years old, and just got to get moved through it and get past it. So yeah, I won't be on that one, but so please, I do ask for prayers for that from the audience, that goes smooth. Well, guys, we got to get through it. So I appreciate that. Thanks, Rob.
That's tough stuff. But yeah, so we're away for a few weeks, but we will be back. And you never know, we're planning some stuff. Check for us during the time between then and now. You may see us on it. It may not be Thrive, but you never know. We miss you guys if we can't see you. Remember to check out the shirts. And it's just great. I'm excited about this week. This is a couple cool dudes.
Yeah, we got a couple great guests today, Rob. I'd love to get into it and make our first introduction if you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's move on.
Perfect. Jason Todd today is our first guest. He's an advisor, author, and serial entrepreneur known as the ER Doc of business and life. He helped thousands of leaders navigate challenges, mitigate risk, and achieve outsized results through his companies and live events. Let's welcome Jason. Jason, good to see you on the show, brother. You've done a lot of live events, like 700 plus, right?
I have. It seems to be the theme. Yeah, and it's not just virtual stuff either. I mean, there are a lot of virtual events, particularly since COVID.
Yes,
but a lot of my events have been in person, and presentations and workshops, and some internationally.
That's incredible. And we met about 4 or 5 months ago, and we've been trying to get you as a guest on the show since then. So it's super awesome to have you on here. If you want to introduce yourself to the audience.
Certainly. Well, that introduction was great, and I'm always humbled when I hear that. In fact, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he had taken an opportunity to look across the links that I had sent him of the things that I've done, and he was like, "Man, you've done so much, like you lived several lifetimes." And sometimes it seems that way, but it's interesting because when we introduce each other, at a party or something like that, we're always like, hey, this is Jason, and here's what he does, and people are like, what is it that you do? And that's why I came up with that whole ER Doc of business and life, because it's one of those things where ER docs are multifunctional devices. Those people they've got maybe some deep expertise, maybe a lot of experience, but they've got a lot of broad things that they've seen. And that's what I've done, working across many different industries, owning several companies, exiting some of them, making great successes with, by the grace of God, and also screwing some things up. And,
that's always a part of the story, right?
Exactly. And I feel like if you've not had that opportunity, by the time you reach, late 40s, I'd say, I think, you've not tried hard enough.
Yeah. Every entrepreneur that I've talked to, that I've worked with, that I've been a part of, there's always that failure period. You're really not an entrepreneur unless you've been through that, I'm guessing, because that's the way God works, right? He pulls us out of the pits, brings us up to the peaks. And man, it's great to hear that, because everybody has done that. And that's part of why entrepreneurs a lot of the time fail throughout everything, because they stop in that period, right? They don't move past that. We learn more from failures and successes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you guys started off talking about the, recent Super Bowl game.
Yeah.
And it was true. I think if you look at the energy between the two different teams, one came on just, it seemed like they had some momentum behind them. And then the other team felt like maybe they were just kind of getting started today. And that I think is indicative of our lives, certainly our interpersonal relationships, but also in our businesses, and perhaps business success or failure. How you prepare today is how your week's going to go, is how your month's going to go, is how your year's going to go, which I think it was John Maxwell who talks about that. I can tell you what what your next year is going to be like. I'll just follow your schedule today. And I think that builds momentum. Whether you come to the moment prepared or whether you come to the moment unprepared determines what that next moment's going to be like too.
Yeah, completely. Well, like you said, ER doc, I love how you got into that and how that worked. How do you help entrepreneurs? Like, what is it that you exactly do for entrepreneurs and in diagnosing things?
I get to the root problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes people come in wanting to talk about their problems in business, the friction that they experience in their business, and I ask them, why are we here? And they say, well, I've got a sales issue, or I've got a team member who's not pulling their weight, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I often find is that the problem they present is really only the problem they can understand and see. And it's many times that the real problem, the real thing to overcome, is something that they can't see and they can't understand. And so what I'm probably, I think if I look at the kind of the thread that holds my sweater together, the thing that's been there through all of the highs and the lows, it's that I can really figure out what the root issue is. And then I can start pulling on that and figure out, are you prepared to deal with that issue? And then I've got a network of folks around the world and some skills and experience of my own that I can apply to the situation. But like that ER docs, like I can either dig in with you at that point. I can tell you what you should probably attend to and send you on your way, or I can get you to an experienced professional who can resolve that issue for you. So whether it's technology, business strategy, or communications issue, I'm adept at all of those things. And I love digging into a business, typically small businesses, because I think that there's a certain magic about small businesses, because whether that business succeeds or whether it fails, the business really affects an individual and their lives. Completely. Which a lot of times, you get lost in corporate America. You're like, I don't know if am I making an appreciable difference or appreciable change here? Does it matter? Well, in a small business, it really does. It really does matter whether that business is successful or not, whether that founder shows up with that momentum or whether they don't. And I love digging in, getting to the root problem, and then going to figure that out.
That's amazing. And, I've been a lot in the space with entrepreneurs as well. One thing I found, and I know you've done this as well, because we've chatted about this before, is how many entrepreneurs operate in crisis mode. They're always you're always feeling that they're in that crisis mode. And some of the things you do is you help them see those before they get into those modes, right? Before they come across that.
That's the plan.
I think staying ahead of those problems. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like bowling. Yeah. Everybody has a direction that they want to go, but whether you're a good bowler or not, whether you've done this a number of times or not, will determine whether you hit the gutter on the way down.
Yes.
And those of us who are experienced, I think it's incumbent upon us to sometimes raise those lane guards so that your ball doesn't go into the gutter. There's no reason after all of these years that we need to continue to make the mistakes. Well, there is a reason. I'll get into that in a second, but it's unfortunate that some of us don't listen to sage advice and then take action on it when we could. And the reason I think for that, and I get into it in my book, what could be creating a life of meaning and purpose. The whole point of that is that God's going to bring you to a point of surrender, and he will let anything go. And progress long enough to the point where you're like, okay, God, what this day is your day. This moment is your moment. I'm going to prepare this moment because of who you are. And then I'm going to trust that you're going to lead me into the next moment. So I think a lot of our success or failure comes from our ability to surrender to to God, but certainly to the help of others as well.
I love it. Our show is thrive in life, business, all of these things. And a big portion of this is the faith aspect. With faith and entrepreneurship, I know you got into a lot of the talk and the discussion, but I want to see, how do you do that on a daily basis with your coaching, with your entrepreneurship, with your live events? I know we'll finish up here in the next couple minutes here. So end on that note, and maybe also throw in something for our audience that may be looking for something. Maybe they haven't taken that first step towards entrepreneurship. So what does that advice look like?
Sure. Well, I'll begin with this. Every year I go through a distillation process and figure out what's the word that Jason needs to hear this year. And I throw that out there, and it starts usually at the beginning of the year, right? Well, one year I decided that the word was yield, because I'm such a good creator. God's blessed me with such talents, right? You can see it from all the things that I've done. And so the tendency is to if I can see what's out ahead, I just run towards it. And that's gotten me in a lot of trouble, creating things that nobody wanted, selling things that never sold, and spending a lot of money, giving a lot of heartache, a lot of stress. When in fact, it's antithetical to faith. And so when things were not working in my life, that word yield had to come up at the forefront and just say, okay, I'm gonna wait. If I don't know what's ahead, instead of just pressing through and creating and saying, I'm going to rely on my own strength, my own understanding, my own vision of the future and run towards that, I'm just now going to pause.
Yes.
And it's okay to just wait, because if you wait on God, he renews your strength, right? So when you're out of strength, even as an entrepreneur, the tendency, I can do this. This is my business. And I think there's an opportunity to reframe that and say, no, I'm just a steward of my skill sets, my resources, the people that I have, the things I can do. I'm a steward of those things. And sometimes when I don't know what the clear direction is, I have to wait on the boss. And that means that I might just get up and have my coffee and then say, okay, God, I don't know exactly what's happening today, but here's my direction. And so for your glory and my joy, would you just reveal the path today in this moment?
I love
it. And he always shows up right when we need him. There's a funny saying I've been throwing around recently when people come to me and like, these things are going on. I'm like, hey, relax, everything's going according to plan, just not yours.
I love it. I really appreciate that, Jason. Talking about the prayer and the word of the year, because we do that as well. And this is awesome. Thank you so much. So I'll put that QR code one more time up on the screen if people want to get in touch with you. This is the way. This is his website. It's therealjtodd.com. I love that, man, because we share a name. I love it. It's Jason. So
make sure you don't go to the fake Jason Todd.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that. Disappointment all around.
Well, awesome, Jason. Thank you so much, brother, and really great to have you on the show.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Rob, Jason, I've known him for the last few months. I've been trying to get him on the show. An incredible man of God, entrepreneur, amazing stuff.
Very cool stuff. And he's right. A lot of times, in fact, actually, I did a video yesterday. If you're my friend on Facebook, you saw my video where I talked about sometimes it's very frustrating to be in a position. And in the video, I said I didn't want to do the video. I didn't. I checked my mail like 5 times, did all this stuff.
You gave every excuse in the book.
Yeah. I did. I was like, I'd have to get the light out. I've got to do this.
You gotta wash the car.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I got to make sure, there's like coffee in the coffee maker,
feed
and
the dogs, feed the cats.
Yes, we don't have any dogs. We have cats. But yes, made sure the cats were safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do it, but at the end of the day, and it's been very humbling. Like 3,500 people have watched that video in less.
That is so cool. That's huge, brother. That's
huge.
But
it's true, and a lot of what he said is great. Now this next guy, is super fascinating.
Yeah, I'm incredibly just humbled to be able to introduce him on our show. It's a close friend of mine that I've worked with for quite a while. He is Jonathan Mast, a pioneer in the AI-driven business strategies with over 275,000 entrepreneurs in his community, which this is old because now he's up to 345,000. He's on a mission to help business owners use AI to scale faster and work smarter. Please welcome Jonathan Mast. And Jonathan, people have seen you in videos, TikToks, YouTubes about teaching AI. You've spoke in many different live events. I know we just talked about that with Jason Todd. It's great to have you on the show, sir.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Yeah. Your talents in the AI world. I know a lot of our audience might be scared with AI, as we talk about this within faith, but we've kind of led with this, right? And especially you have. You are the man when it comes to AI.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if I agree with that quite, but I definitely try to make AI applicable and understandable.
Yes. And AI did not help him grow his beard. Just letting you know. Okay. Your company's called Whitebeard Strategies. Makes sense, right?
Yeah. No idea where I came up with that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, we're not super creative. Maybe AI helped you with that. I'm wondering now. Well, hey, AI is a weapon for entrepreneurs, right? I know.
I believe so.
And we've talked about this a lot because AI is helping us tremendously in terms of making us more efficient, making things smoother. But people are afraid of this. Like, what do you have to say about that when we talk about AI?
Well, I get it. I understand it. We're always scared of the unknown. And, I'm older than most probably listeners, but, when we think back to Terminator and other things like that we've watched and we hear about AI, we think, this is bad. We don't need this.
Mm-hmm.
couple things. One, that's not the type of AI we have today. In fact, I would contend we don't even really have AI in what we would think of as AI.
Mhm.
We have really smart predictive technologies, and sometimes it even blows me away. But AI in and of itself, it's not evil or good. It is this there, and it depends on how we use it. I believe as a Christian entrepreneur and businessman, it's my responsibility to use the tools that God's given me to help amplify the skill and experience, my talents. I mean, people go, Jonathan, what do you want at the end of the day? And I go, someday when I stand in front of Jesus Christ, what I want to hear is, well done, good and faithful servant. That's
Completely.
it. That's my goal. And what I don't want to have happen at that point is I don't want to have somebody look back at me and go, that AI thing, you just ignored it. You realize parable of the talents, you were supposed to amplify, you were supposed to grow. God gave you a tool here. Why did you not use it? And I know some people probably think I'm preaching, from the wrong choir here, but I absolutely believe that, again, AI can be used for so much good in so many ways. Like any tool, it's not perfect, but it is an incredible tool when leveraged well that I believe allows us as business owners to serve our community more fully, to provide better work conditions and better results for our team and our clients, and ultimately to be able to make more money. And that means we get to give more away. And as a Christian business leader, to me, that's why we exist and why we're in business.
No, I love that, and I use AI constantly as well, as we've gotten heavily involved with that. It is a tool, and I love how you put that as what you compared that with the parable of the talents, that God does provide tools and resources for us to succeed. So when we are asking for things, he goes, we want clear signs of stuff. Well, he always talks about, hey, I've given you this tool to do that, to make sure that you can give that. So you have to think of it differently. But I love how you've brought that into there. When we're talking about AI, I'd love to give our audience, because maybe they're not business owners, maybe they're thinking about entrepreneurship, give them some ideas of how AI can be used in simple everyday life.
Well, and I should say, I don't just work with business owners. It's just where I am, where my mind is. But AI can help anybody out because it can help us save time. It can help us do all kinds of things. Oh, let's take a step back. Any repeatable task that you're doing on a regular basis, other than if it's manual, like taking the garbage out every Tuesday night for me, AI can probably help you do that. Other areas, if nothing else, most of us, I think, strive to be learners. We want to learn. We want to learn new things. And if you think of AI as something that's been trained on every book and every library across the world, what better tool to try to learn with? It's not going to regurgitate the entire book to me, but if I want to learn about looking out the window at my AC unit here, if I want to learn about how that's put together and how does that work, that somehow there's some chemical or freon in there and that allows me to cool my house, AI can explain all of that to me in a manner that I can understand. And then if I want to do a deeper dive, I can do a deeper dive into any one of those areas. So there's so many ways that we can use AI. One of the fun ones that I enjoy, and try this out, it's really just hysterical. Go take a picture of open the refrigerator and take a picture and then go, what should I cook for dinner tonight? And it will literally be able to identify a lot, not everything, if it's in the wrong bowl, it may not know, but take a picture and you'll be amazed that you do that. My wife and I, we've been trying to lose some weight. So we're eating in a particular manner and we regularly do that and go, here's the type of diet we're on, what we're trying to do, help us figure out what, and it's amazing the guidance that we can get because again, it's been trained on all of this data. So there's all kinds of things we can do on a day-to-day basis.
And there's multiple different models. When we hear AI, a lot of our audience just thinks of ChatGPT, right? And
that's true.
And there's so many different models out there that specialize in certain things. Touch on that. Maybe give our audience some pointers on which ones to look at.
Great question. So ChatGPT is the 900-pound gorilla in the room. And I want to encourage you, if you're just getting started, it's a great place to start. Don't get caught up in all of these other models. Every single day we're hearing about new models, new features, new this, new that. And if you have shiny object syndrome that I am admittedly guilty of, yeah, exactly. It's hard not to go, ooh, I want to check all that out. At the end of the day, if you just use ChatGPT, you're going to be able to do virtually everything you need. And then as you become more proficient at using it, it's like anything else, you may identify things you want. I kind of compare it to buying a vehicle. When you buy a car, we've always got ideas of things we want to get for the new car or whatever, but go drive it for a couple weeks and then decide what you want to invest your money in for new upgrades and features, because it's probably going to be a little different than it was when you bought the day you bought the car or the day you saw it in the dealership or whatever. And so AI is the same way. Live with it for a couple weeks, use it, try it out, find out what happens. I this morning I have a new hat on that I bought when I was traveling recently, and it's got a symbol from Dragon Ball on it. I didn't know what that symbol was. I literally took a picture and had ChatGPT tell me what it was before I bought it, because I want to make sure it was an appropriate symbol. I like the hat, but I don't know what that means. I don't know what that Chinese character means, or Japanese, and great simple way to learn.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
I have a question. I have a question for you. Let's say you're somebody that is really not experienced with AI type stuff, and you're a business owner. What would be the first area you dive into?
Great question. For me, it's helping write emails. A simple example, this morning I had to introduce a client to a partner of ours. Really simple thing, happens all the time. I've got a partner, they ask something we don't do. I've got somebody I recommend. And instead of me going, okay, how am I going to write this well? Because Jason, I'll pick on you. I want to introduce Jason to Rob, and I want to make sure it's all written the right way and it sounds good. That would take me 5 to 10 minutes to go ahead and put that all together. Instead, I just went to ChatGPT and said, Rob's a consulting client of mine. Jason's a vendor and a partner. I want to introduce them about this topic. Write me an email. And it wrote a beautiful, about 2-paragraph, nice, simple, straight to the point, but well written, and saved me probably 3.5 minutes. You go, big deal. No, but if I do that 20 times a day, I just saved an hour and a half.
And as we finish up here in the next minute or so, Jonathan, there's one piece that I would love for you to expound on and talk about, because this is something that I utilize and that I teach as well, the perfect prompt framework. And I know this started with you, and I would love, because maybe they don't know how to talk about this. Maybe they don't know how to ask it. Talk about what that means. And the prompt is basically asking the AI to do something. So
it is. It's super simple. And I know we're running short on time. Step one, tell the GPT or the AI what it's supposed to act as. Act as a copywriter, act as a chef, whatever. Step two, give it background information. Tell it about things you need, just as if you were talking to Jason or I. Step three, ask it your question. And step four is the most important, because we don't always know what to ask. End your prompt with, ask me any questions you have. If you follow those 4 steps, you don't ever need to buy a prompt list, and you'll always get good to great results out of the AI model.
And that's the video that probably most of you have seen on the TikTok, is Jonathan talking about that in a group of people, the perfect prompt framework. Again, that's something I teach, and I stole that from you. I'll be honest with you. I'll give you every bit of credit. It's things with that. But Jonathan, man, I would love to talk about maybe doing this more often, and maybe having a show where we talk about AI, because this is a big part of everybody's lives moving forward. And maybe this is something we do in educating people.
I'd love to do that.
Let's do it, because that's actually Jason and we didn't even talk about this. I was like, we share a brain, and I was like, we need to talk to him maybe after it's over, but we need to talk to him about having him back on again. That was awesome.
Let's do it.
I love you, brother. Thank you so much for what you're doing and bringing AI to the forefront with entrepreneurs and just businesses. So thank you so much for being on the show, sir.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks, Rob.
Man, where does the time go?
It goes by way fast, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yes.
Hey, listen, we appreciate each and every one of you. Reach out to us. Hey, slap up the QR code again for those cool T-shirts really quick.
Yep, not a problem at all. Right there. We got the cool T-shirts right here.
There you go. Go grab yourself a neat T-shirt. Use the promo code ATV.
ATV10.
Yeah, there you go. You got
ATV10 at heisking.life.
Yes, go do that. Hang out with us. We will see you. You'll see us, but it'll be a couple weeks. We'll be gone, and when we come back, it's going to even be better than before. But we appreciate you. Go out and thrive, my friends.